If dashing through the battlefield to run up a wall, do a backflip, come down on your opponent, and kick them in the face. If that sounds fun to you, then we might have a build that you might be interested in, as today we're looking at a Tabaxi Monk here on Rolling with Advantage. Today we're going to be looking at the Tabaxi Monk, and this video comes at the request of one of our viewers. So Dragon Zaid 6, this is for you. You had mentioned that your girlfriend was looking to play a Tabaxi Monk, and how would I build it? Well, this is how I would build it. So first I want to take a look at the Tabaxi and take a look at why they are so awesome to play and why I think they should be one of the top races that you should look at when looking to build a character. First we look at the ability score increase, and we have a Dex +2, we also have a Charisma +1. So a lot of flexibility and a lot of the different types of characters we can build with that type of a setup. But the big thing that I want to take a look at is feline agility. This is the ability that I absolutely love for a Tabaxi, and I feel we can really utilize this a lot when we're playing a monk. It says that you basically get to take a double move. So when you move on your turn in combat, you can double your speed until the end of the turn, and once you use this trait, you can't use it again until you move 0 feet on one of your turns. This is ridiculous, and here's why. It doesn't say it recharges on a short rest or a long rest. You can just keep doing this as long as there's one turn you don't move. So in combat, you got to think, you run up, you're attacking a guy for a couple of rounds, he drops, now my ability is back up and I can move again. So you're going to be able to move as a monk 80 feet off of this or more as we level up. We'll show you that here in a second. This ability is great. I also really like Cat's talent on any character because it gives me perception and stealth, which in my opinion is 2 of the top 5 skills in the game, and getting that in the kit for your race is incredible. Of course, Cat's Claw is great because it's going to give us a climbing speed, which I think again we can utilize a lot as a monk. It does give us a backup slashing weapon, but I'm not going to be using it very much because it does use your strength modifier. However, I would talk to your DM and see if you can get this changed to Dex mod and to see if you can make it more of a finesse weapon since it's your claws. I think it'd be fun to see like a Way of the Open Hand monk that uses his cat claws as his weapon. But ask your DM first, it's his discretion, or her. Next we're going to move over to the class. Okay, so I was thinking a lot about this, and I really like the idea of playing a shadow monk, being able to do, step into the shadows with feline agility so we can dart around the battlefield like crazy. And that's definitely one build we could do maybe for another day. But today, I really started looking at the Way of the Kensei, and I said, this is how I would play a monk. And I'll explain why. So as we look at the monk, of course we're going to get our martial arts, which allows us to use unarmed strikes or specific monk weapons to do damage off of our monk table, which we'll look at here in a second. So, and we also have this key feature which tells you kind of a number of times before a short rest that you can use certain abilities like your stunning strike and things of that nature. Path of the Kensei. Okay. What this allows me to do is pick certain weapons that are now considered monk weapons. Well, I wanted to make Pan Throw from Thundercats, and yeah, I can make a nunchuck, but Flail looked pretty good to me. So I picked Flail and Longbow to give me a ranged option, and the thing that I really like about this build is Agile Parry. If you make an unarmed strike as part of the attack action, on your turn you are holding a Kensei weapon, you can use it to defend yourself, and you get a +2 to your AC. That is amazing as we level up. Also, I can use Kensei Shot with my longbow, set up some good range attacks if I have to. If I'm moving around the battlefield super fast as a cat, that might be really cool as well. So all that looks pretty solid. And I always start my builds by looking at the first 5 levels to kind of see where we are. And I want to talk about abilities. Now, as a Tabaxi, I'm going to get a +2 to my Dex and a +1 to Charisma. So I'm using point buy. If you're rolling stats, it may look differently, but I would always put the most in Dexterity and the second most in Wisdom because we want to maximize our unarmored defense. So with this setup right here, what we're looking at is a 17 in Dexterity, a 15 in Wisdom, and then +1 with the Charisma bonus to a Tabaxi, we're going to get to 12. So I know we're on odd numbers, which a lot of people don't like, but what I want to do is at 4th level take the ASI to put 1 point in Dex and 1 point in Wisdom, because the higher mods we get on those 2 stats, the better armor class that we have. So by doing this, I can kind of get more out of more for my money type of deal. So what this class is going to look like as we get going. Now, proficiencies, I want to touch on this as well. I've already got perception and I've already got stealth. Now I also have acrobatics and insight. For description, as we go look at his background, I chose folk hero because this gets me animal handling and survival. The reason I'm doing this, as we go to our character sheet, if I believe that when I'm making a character, if my best stats are dexterity and wisdom, then I should try to get as many of those skills as possible to just maximize the build. Like, I'm really good at these abilities, I should take skills that match that. Now, I know sometimes we're going to take skills that are, you know, maybe not as good stat-wise, but just take a look at what we're doing here. So with this setup, I've got proficiency in acrobatics, animal handling, insight, perception, stealth, survival. These are all dex and wisdom based skills. The only skill I didn't get that would have been good is sleight of hand. Now, if you want to play your monk more as a roguey type, you could switch out the background for like urchin or something of that nature, you know, give up one for the other. And I know some people don't like animal handling a lot. I use it a lot in my games, but like I said, your mileage may vary on that type of skill. So the reason that I wanted to show this to you, this is level 5. And if our dexterity is here and our wisdom is here, our AC is 17. Now, that is not counting our Kensei bonus once we hit. So what we're going to do is we're going to run up, we're going to hit with our flail, then we're going to use an unarmed strike using our martial arts to hit them, and now we're going to add another 2 to our armor class. So now your AC is 19, and that you're not wearing armor. That's just you being an awesome monk. I think that's a lot of fun. I think you can really go up and tank with this with a really high AC. I know your hit points may not be as much as a barbarian, but a 19 can be very hard to hit. And I also like the mobility of this character. I like to be able to, you know, dash around the battlefield and do different things. It can really help. You've got to think tactfully when you're moving around the battlefield. And I tell players who are playing monks, you don't think of the battlefield in 2 dimensions. Think of it in 3 dimensions. You're going to be able to run up walls. You're going to be able to, you know, climb trees super fast, especially since you're a Tabaxi. Think about how you can get the high ground on your opponent. How can you flip over opponents? Think in 3 dimensions, and I think that'll really help you, you know, with some of your enjoyment in combat. Instead of just, I'll run up and kick him. That's not very fun. But if you say, I'm going to run up this wall, get behind it, maybe grab advantage as I'm attacking him from above him, and then come down and kick him. Now that sounds like fun. You know, I don't know, just me. I think the more we describe our melee attacks, the more fun and more realistic, and it also helps with the immersion of the entire table when they understand, you know, how some of these attacks are affecting people. So, also do want to look at his features and traits. We look at the key. All right, so one more thing that I do want to talk about with the Tabaxi Monk here is, remember what we talked about his feline agility. So he can move, as a monk at level 1, you get plus 10 to your movement. So now we can move 40 feet. With feline agility, I can now move an additional 40, so that's 80 feet. And if I want to use Step of the Wind, I can spend a key point to gain a dash action as a bonus action. Now I get to go another 40 feet. So by using a key point and using feline agility, if I had to move 120 feet in one round, I could. I think that's awesome. I like having that ability to where if I need to get out of here in a hurry, I can. Or if I want to run up to an opponent super fast, like someone's trying to get away, you're not going to outrun the Tabaxi Monk. Just not going to happen. I think that's really, really cool. Also, I do want to talk about key points in general. Key points, they all come back in a short rest. So at level 5, you're sitting here looking at, I've got 5 key points. I would be very willing to spend these super, super fast as we get going, because they're going to get them back really fast. And a lot of your combats don't last longer than 5 rounds. So go ahead and use them. Just go ahead and use them, especially for like flurry of blows, stunning strike. I would be quick to use those abilities because combat, the faster combat is, the better for the party generally. So, you know, knock these guys down. So this is how I would build it. Go back, we want to take a look at, what this looks like as you get closer to level 10. So what we'll do is we'll bring it down to 10 and just kind of walk through what we're looking at here. Extra attack force is great at 5. Stunning strike. 1 with the blade is great. This allows all of your Kensei weapons to act as magical weapons, which is good to have. You can also use Death Strikes, another way to use Key Point to add more damage if you want to front load more damage. Picking up more options for weapons is good. The ability to have your unarmed strikes be magical, standard monk fare. Evasion is a great ability as we move up. So also be cautious about this as you're leveling, because a lot of people forget this. So make sure you keep this in mind. Your unarmored movement gets better as you level. A lot of monks make this mistake. Be sure you realize that you're going to be moving faster. And that also applies to your feline agility. So once you move up to 45 feet, or at level 10, we're going to be moving 50 feet. Now that's 100 feet with feline agility, and then we can still stack our key ability on top of that. So this character should be the fastest character on the field. And you're going to be doing decent damage, while really the job of the monk is to find the big bad and lock him down with a stun, and being able to move around the battlefield and not getting slowed or hampered by minions, and just getting right up on that bad guy, the big bad, is the way to play the monk. So this is how I would build a monk. I'm very interested in playing some type of a Thundercat campaign. My friends and I have been joking about it, but this is how I would build a monk for today. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear your feedback. If you've played a Kensei Monk, I'd like to hear the goods and the bads. I'd like to know if you'd build it any differently, if you're stat it a little bit differently. I'd love to know. If you like this video and this type of content, you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe to the channel. And as always, keep rolling with advantage. Thanks.